In this video, I'm going to set up a travel router that I just bought for 30 bucks to use with the monitor and control app. It's a setup that I've tried at home before, but I'm going back to another conference tomorrow and I have to set up cameras in 2 different rooms, and I was thinking that maybe this is something I can use as a monitor with the iPad. The rooms are right next to each other, but they are divided by a wall. So I'm going to set up this router. I'm going to pre-program my cameras. One of them is this FX6, and then this FX3 that's recording right now is going to be the one that also needs to be connected to this, and hopefully we'll get it to show up on the app. So I'm in the monitor and control app. I already downloaded the TP-Link app for this. We're going to set this up solely on this battery bank because one of the reasons that I wanted to get this was the fact that I can power it through USB-C, so I can put it in my camera bag and just operate it from there, or maybe in the Pelican case or something like that. And it can also tether from an iPhone, so we don't really need internet, hopefully, to actually do the setup. If we need it, I have an Ethernet jack just in case for the setup purposes, but it should not need this when you're actually operating the monitor and control app on location. So you have to set up the router with whatever SSID you want, and then connect the cameras with the preferred network setting enabled. And then on site, you should be able to just run it. The iPad has to be connected to it, the camera has to be connected to it, and then they'll see each other. This is only needed if you have to run multiple cameras, because otherwise you can just do a direct connection with the monitor and control app. But if you don't, or if you want to have 2 cameras or 3 or 4, then you need to have a central router that has to run in a standard router mode. So let's see, I've never used this before or seen it. I'm just opening it up. And this is the AX1500 TL-WR1502X. This is not like their fanciest model or anything, but I was looking for something small that also did not have external antennas. And so this is the actual unit. It is pretty small, as you can see. And you can power it with USB-C. You can plug in your iPhone as a tether option here. And obviously you have the internet port and then a LAN port if you have to plug in a switch or something. And the only other thing, if I have to remove this, I'm going to do that. There is a switch on this side which lets you switch from router mode to hotspot mode, which I'm assuming is when you have the hotspot connected here, and then a repeater or access point mode. So we're going to start with router mode for sure, and then maybe try hotspot after. So what else does come in here? Let's see, a ton of papers. Okay, so they give you a USB A to C, an Ethernet cable, and a tiny power supply, which gives, it's an 18 watt power supply. I'm actually surprised that this is not a C. So you can run C to C properly as a power delivery, but I mean, I'm probably just gonna do that then, because I don't have a plug here that I can use. So I need to grab a USB-C cable. All right, so I grabbed the USB-C cable. We're gonna plug this into one of these outputs. And the reason I like this and I wanna use it is because this one actually shows how much power this thing is drawing. So let's power it up. It says 9 volt, 12 volt PD, or quick charge or QC. So it should be perfectly fine with this. Okay. So I saw some lights on the front, and it is currently pulling 0.7 watts, which is basically nothing. So on the app, I'm gonna hit add device, and hopefully I'm gonna be able to find it. So okay, Waiting for the LEDs to be stable, which is what it says. It's still blinking blue. And I'm not entirely sure. Let me just plug this in, because we're going to end up using that. And I guess for the setup purposes, okay, I'm just going to hit LED stable, because why not? Scan the QR code on the device. Enable camera, yes. So I guess, okay, so there's a QR code on the bottom for setup purposes. This is actually not bad at all. For this test, I'm going to plug in this WAN port so it can get an IP address, and hopefully it will work. Okay, now it's pulling 2.3 watts. So yeah, we're going to scan the QR code again and hit connect. Hopefully that will work now. Okay, it says unable to join. Let's try this again. Add a router. Okay, so it is solid. Set up manually. Okay. No, I should be able to do the QR code. I should be able to connect to this directly. Okay, it just keeps saying unable to connect for whatever reason. So let me do it manually. If I go into Wi-Fi, yes, there is a TP link, which is the same name as what I have here. There's also 5G separated. Okay, so this way it worked. For some reason it did not work within the app, but going from the iOS Wi-Fi page, it worked fine. Yep, and it does show up right here. Very good. So let's go into it. We're gonna log into the device, set device password. I'm gonna do that. So this, you can make a custom password, or you can use the TP-Link account ID password as well. So how will you connect the device to the internet? Via an existing public Wi-Fi? No. Via an Ethernet cable or USB tethering, or via a USB modem. So we're going to do the Ethernet right now, because I just want to set this up. I just want to make and change the name to something different than the default. And yes, let's skip all of this because I don't really care. And I also want to use the same okay, that's okay. We're going to use the default for now because I want to combine the SSIDs to one. I don't really like it when it's separated, because certain devices, like, I want them to be able to drop down to 2.4 if for some reason the 5 gigahertz is not strong enough. So far it's pulling 2.3 watts right now. So that's basically nothing. And other than this one LED on the front, I don't see anything. All right, congratulations, it's set up. So here we go. Yes, network status online, Wi-Fi. Let's see if there are settings that I can use to configure this. Yes, so Wi-Fi settings. Okay, so it doesn't let me like change or combine the network. There's a firmware update for sure. So I guess we're just gonna do the 5 gigahertz, and we're gonna call this my company name, I guess, Monostori Media, and I'm gonna put 5G at the end because I want to make sure that this is separate from the other one. Advanced settings, security, encrypted, yes. The password is very easy to do, which is fine because I want to be able to type it in very easily on cameras, because you guys know how bad the Sony like menus are on certain things when you have to like use a keyboard. So okay, so I'm gonna join this as well, and I'm gonna join it from the iPad because it should be working. So hopefully it shows up. Let's see, yes. All right, so iPad is joining my new network, and I also this one has also cellular, so I could use this through the USB as the feed and connect at the same time, I'm pretty sure. So we got one client. Okay, it says 2 clients. iPad. It doesn't show my iPhone for some reason. Oh yeah, it's just showing it now. But it's called network device. So now it's time to connect the first camera. And I'm going to start with the FX6 because that one's sitting here. So I'm going to take this off. Let's go into menu. Let's go into network and wireless LAN. And scan networks. So I'm currently connected to my home network, so I have to scan it to this one. And then change to yes. Very good. And the password, luckily it's just numbers, so I'm gonna put that in. I just have to look it up real quick. It's not 8, 9. Luckily it's short. So I can and done. Okay, so I'm connecting right now, and hopefully it will go through pretty quickly. Until then, I'm gonna go to yes. So I'm on Wi-Fi mode, and multi-camera monitoring is turned on. Yes, and okay, so my FX6 already shows up on here, so I should be able to just hit connect, and yes, and we'll have a picture. Yes, so if I click this and go full screen, we are getting, obviously the monitoring control app is not always perfect, and in multi-mode you only get like 8 frames a second or 8 FPS. So for framing and stuff like that, it's okay. Changing some quick settings, I think that's all right. So we got that one connected. I'm gonna connect this FX3 if I can. I just don't know if it's possible. Yeah, it's not possible by recording. So I have to cut the camera, put in the password, and then come back. All right. So I just connected the camera, but I had to cut recording, so now I'm back. So what we're gonna do now is check to see if that one also shows up or not. Because it is connected. I still only see the FX6. I don't see the FX3. Okay, it just showed up. Very good. I'm gonna hit connect. So I guess it took a little bit. Now I have both. And if I do it, yeah. So you can actually see that I have the same frame on this as what I'm recording with the FX3. So I've got both cameras connected through this tiny travel router. And yes, they only do about 8 FPS unless you go into full screen. If you go into full screen, it does a little bit better. Usually it's not gonna be perfect. It's 20, 22 right now, 19. And if I go into the FX6, that one does 19, 24, 28. Yeah, so if I move it, it's gonna be a little bit like janky. But for framing purposes and just checking settings, I think it's okay. Because all I wanna see is to make sure I'm recording, you know, match white balance, time code and all that. This one is not running time code right now because I don't have it turned on, but it's mostly synced. But this one shows that it's recording because it's red. And this tiny travel router is doing this through a battery bank using 2 watts, still 2 watts. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably do some updates to make sure that the firmware is up to date. And I'm also gonna check and test before we actually go. I'm gonna disconnect the internet and I'm gonna use my phone as the USB internet. Oh, and you can actually select this as the preferred or the backup option here. So if you have normal internet but it goes down, you can use this as a backup. So I'm just gonna put it in preferred because I want this to be the main source. And it is a mobile device. Yes, so I have to hit trust computer when it asks. Okay. It should ask us to trust the device. Oh, I have to turn on the hotspot. So I'm gonna turn my Wi-Fi off. I'm gonna trust the computer, yes. I'm gonna turn on personal hotspot. I'm gonna turn it on to USB only because it did give me that as an option since I'm plugged in. And so now I should get internet into the device. Now I'm not sure if I can find it because I'm technically not connected to it with Wi-Fi. But the light just turned blue, so it was red earlier before I got actual connection. Okay, it came back. So through the cloud, it does work. So when it's blue, it means it has internet. When it was red, it didn't have any. I switched it to USB internet and it did work. So now I've got this and I have 3 clients, 2 Sony imaging devices, which is accurate, and 1 iPad, and 2 offline clients, which is basically my my iPhone because it connected twice. So this is working. I'm gonna see if there is, yes, there's nothing to change as far as the settings in the Ethernet or the tethering, but it does work. So now I have working internet through my phone that is broadcast through this tiny little router that I can power through a battery bank in my bag, and it also is connected to both cameras while recording. So if I had more, I will add more. I'm planning on getting another FX6 probably maybe at the end of the year, or early next year, and I will use this more if it works out fine. I actually like this view a little bit more, I think. If there's two, I feel like that they should be able to space this a little bit better to give us a little bit more options, because I'm not a fan of how this looks. So let me just change the focus mode. Yeah, so I like it. It is 8 FPS, so it's not great unless you go into it, but it does work, and this is a $30 router that makes it possible. And I know that conference centers can be very, very radio frequency heavy. There's a chance this is not going to work as well as I'm thinking, but I also want to use this on site when I'm shooting on a client's location, connect the cameras so I can use my iPad as a monitor to change some settings or just make sure that the recording is still going if I don't have an eye on the camera or I'm pretty far from it. Especially if I have to manage more than one, it's good to see. And you can also start and stop recording at the same time on all cameras. So it's a pretty neat tool. You can also kind of turn on like your zebras. There's histogram, and there's also like false color. So if that's your thing, then it's a pretty good tool to have. And this router worked way better than I thought, because with only a very short amount of time while recording and trying to figure this out, I was able to set this up, make it work. It works with my phone as a tether option, and it's pretty small. It is very easy to put this in your backpack and you'll be all right. And for the actual setup with the monitor control, with the travel router, your router is working. You just set up the SSID with the password, connect your iPad to that new network. It doesn't have to have internet. You can be in router or hotspot mode with this specific router. So I'm connected already. Go into monitor and control. You have to switch the mode to Wi-Fi, and it will show cameras. Now in this way, it will only connect to one because you did not turn on multi-camera monitoring. So you turn that on. Multi-camera monitoring only works in these modes, but it does work differently. So stay on Wi-Fi, make sure it's Wi-Fi. It will scan the network because I've already connected my cameras to this new travel router. You have to do that yourself. Go into the menu, put in the password. You cannot do it while recording on an FX3. I'm not sure about the FX6, but just go into the menu, connect it. Both will show up. You hit connect one at a time because that's the only way to do it. And then after that, you hit monitoring, and they'll both show up and show you what's actually happening right now. Here's a tip for the FX3. If you're in Wi-Fi mode and you selected your access point, and it will actually like show you the info that you are connected to Wi-Fi, this is not enough for the monitoring control to work. You also have to go up to the top menu, and the remote shoot function has to be on, because otherwise it does not show up in the app. So even though you're connected to Wi-Fi, remote shooting must be on. And then if this is on, you don't have to do anything here with the smartphone connection or anything like that. As long as you're on Wi-Fi and you're connected to your access point, so make sure you do that, and it is connected to your travel router, so the IP addresses are correct, then it will show up in the monitoring control as I'm showing you in the video. Welcome to my command center. This is my cart that I'm using to manage these two rooms. I have cameras in this room and in that room. This room is on lunch break right now, and my camera is back here. This is the FX3 on the Satchler with the 212 small rig battery powering everything. I'm getting audio feed from the audio guys, running a super long SDI all the way to the Podium laptop because that's what's live streaming it. And this is also connected to my travel router to use the monitoring control app, which is what this video is about. And then there's this room where my FX6 is, recording this one right there. So I have this camera also doing the same exact thing, feeding into that laptop, got monitoring control app, and 70-200s on both. The router is currently in my bag right here. It's not the final position. It will live probably at the end of this bag, and I'm just running it from this battery bank, and it's currently using 1.8 watts. And this is my iPad connected to that same router, running the monitor and control app, and I can see my FX6 on the top, and I can see my FX3 on the bottom. It shows battery settings and everything. I will have to change the iris on the FX6 to match the FX3 to f8, and I should be able to do that by setting the lens to auto, and then I can change it here, or I just have to go there and actually dial it in. f8 seems to be the right setting, even though this one has a little bit more lighter walls and that one has more darker walls, so the measurements are a little bit different. But this is working within a hotel, and I can see and start my recordings with no issues. So that's it for this video, and thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next one.